A woman never says she's fallen in love. She shows it silently, subtly, but unmistakably. When a woman truly falls for someone, the very first thing that changes about her is not her words, not her habits, not her decisions. It's her eyes. Her eyes begin to tell a story her lips can never confess. They carry an emotion so deep that even when she tries to hide it, the truth slips through the softness of her gaze. You can see it. The way she looks at you is no longer the same. It's not casual, not fleeting, not something ordinary. Her eyes begin to hold you longer, as if they're searching for something that feels like home. She doesn't even realize when it starts happening. Her gaze begins to follow you in a crowded room, not out of curiosity, but out of comfort. It's as if her eyes have found a quiet belonging, a peace they had been unconsciously looking for all along. When she looks at you, it's not just about attraction, it's about recognition, a silent understanding that somehow in you, she sees a reflection of something she's been missing. The look in her eyes becomes softer, deeper, slower. It lingers. It studies you in moments you don't even notice. The way your expressions change when you talk, the way your tone shifts when you're hurt, the way your silence hides emotions. She sees all of it. And with every glance, her eyes begin to memorize you. Every feature, every flaw, every little detail starts becoming familiar, almost sacred. She may not say a word, but her eyes will start speaking in a language only your heart can understand. There's a calmness in the way she looks at you, but also a storm she can't control. Sometimes her eyes will sparkle when you smile, reflecting genuine happiness, not because of what you said, but simply because you are there. Other times, they'll soften with concern when you seem lost, when your energy shifts, when you're not yourself. She will notice even when the rest of the world doesn't. Her eyes become mirrors to her emotions, revealing care when she tries to appear indifferent, revealing affection when she pretends to be strong. The emotions she keeps guarded inside begin to escape through her gaze, and no matter how much she tries to hide them, they always find a way to show. If you ever meet her eyes during a conversation, you'll feel the difference. There's a certain kind of warmth that lingers there, the kind that makes you pause for a second longer than you meant to. You might even feel a strange comfort in that gaze, not because she's trying to charm you, but because something in her heart has already chosen you. Her eyes no longer wander restlessly. They have found a place to rest. Even when she's surrounded by people, her eyes will always search for you first, and when they find you, they'll soften. Just for a moment, just enough for you to feel that unspoken connection. Her eyes also begin to tell a quiet story of vulnerability. They hold emotions she can't explain: hope, fear, longing, tenderness. Sometimes they'll shine with unspoken affection, and sometimes they'll look away too quickly, as if afraid of revealing too much. Because falling in love makes her eyes both brave and shy at the same time. Brave enough to show her truth, yet shy enough to hide it behind a glance. She may look away when you catch her staring, pretending it was nothing, but her eyes will always betray her. They will always return to you, drawn by something deeper than she understands. Her eyes will start reflecting your emotions too. When you're happy, they'll mirror your light. When you're in pain, they'll dim with it. This is what happens when a woman truly falls. Her gaze becomes intertwined with your existence. Her eyes start feeling for you, speaking for you, and sometimes even hurting for you. The world may still see her as composed and quiet, but the truth of her love will live in those fleeting, wordless moments when her eyes meet yours and the entire noise of the world fades into silence. When a woman truly falls in love, something begins to shift quietly within her, not in loud or dramatic ways, but in the small, almost invisible corners of her life. Her priorities start to change. The things that once demanded her full attention, her routines, her plans, her little self-centered comforts, begin to take a step back without her even realizing it. It's not that she loses herself. It's that her heart begins to expand to make space for someone else. Her focus, which was once only about her own world, starts to gently tilt toward you. Suddenly, she starts remembering your needs before her own, not because she's trying to impress you, but because caring for you starts feeling natural, almost instinctive. The balance of her emotional world rearranges itself quietly, like a subtle shift in gravity that pulls her closer without her resistance. You'll notice it in the simplest things. She'll remember that one small thing you mentioned weeks ago, something you probably forgot yourself. She'll ask about your day before you ask about hers. When she makes decisions, even the smallest ones, you start to appear in the background of her thoughts, like a constant consideration she doesn't consciously plan. If she's shopping, she'll find herself pausing for a second, thinking whether you'd like something she sees. If she's planning her day, she'll think about how to fit in a few minutes just to text you or hear your voice. These are not deliberate acts of devotion. They're reflexes of a heart that has quietly placed you in its center. Her emotional landscape starts to change too. The things that once upset her deeply don't matter as much anymore, and the things that affect you begin to touch her more profoundly. If you're stressed, she feels uneasy. If you're distant, her day feels incomplete. She begins to measure her own peace by your state of mind. And while she'll never admit it, a part of her starts revolving around your presence, whether you're near or far. Her happiness starts to tie itself to the rhythm of your energy. It's not about dependency, it's about emotional alignment. When love settles in her heart, your well-being becomes her quiet priority, even when she pretends it doesn't matter. She'll start making sacrifices that seem small on the surface, but carry deep meaning underneath. She'll stay up late just to talk to you when she's tired. She'll rearrange plans to see you. She'll go out of her way to make things easier for you. And she doesn't announce these things. She does them silently, naturally, because your comfort begins to mean more to her than her convenience. You become part of her mental checklist, not out of obligation, but because she wants to be sure you're okay. It's in her nature to nurture, to care, to give more when she loves deeply, and so she does it without expecting acknowledgement. Even in her ambitions, you'll find traces of you. She'll start including you in her vision of the future without saying it out loud. The way she talks about someday begins to sound more like someday with you. Her plans become softer, more flexible, as if she's leaving room for your presence in them. It's not that she abandons her dreams. She still wants to grow, to succeed, to build her own life. But now she starts seeing those dreams in a light that somehow includes you. You become part of her motivation. The thought of you begins to color the way she sees her path forward. And without realizing it, every choice she makes carries a quiet awareness of how it might affect you. When her priorities shift, it's never loud or obvious. There are no grand declarations, no clear turning points. It happens in the background of her everyday moments, in the way she listens to you, the way she waits for your reply, the way she adjusts her world around your existence. Her heart begins to operate in sync with yours. It's not about control or sacrifice. It's about emotional gravity, the natural pull that love creates, drawing her life gently into alignment with yours, piece by piece, until caring for you feels as essential as breathing. When a woman truly falls for someone, there comes a point when her words begin to fade and her silence starts to speak louder than anything she could ever say. Her quietness is not emptiness. It's full of emotions she's too afraid or too tender to express. When she loves deeply, she feels everything more intensely, and sometimes words are too fragile to hold the weight of those feelings. Her silence becomes a language, one that only the one who truly understands her can interpret. You'll notice it in the pauses between conversations, in the moments when she wants to say something but holds it back, not because she has nothing to say, but because she's afraid that speaking might break the fragile peace between you. In love, a woman's silence often carries what her heart is too vulnerable to reveal. When she falls deeply, she begins to listen more than she speaks. Her quietness is filled with observation, with care, with the kind of attention that doesn't need validation. When she chooses not to argue, it isn't because she's indifferent. It's because she values the connection more than being right. She learns to pick her battles not out of weakness, but out of love. Her silence becomes her shield and her expression at the same time. It protects her feelings, but it also reveals them. Every time she turns away instead of speaking, it's because her emotions are too real, too raw to be reduced to words. There are moments when her silence will hold warmth, when she sits beside you without saying much, but her presence feels like comfort. That's the kind of silence that speaks of safety, of belonging, of peace. She doesn't need to fill every moment with words because being near you feels enough. But there are also moments when her silence will ache, when something you said hurt her, and instead of reacting, she retreats into herself. Her quietness in those moments isn't about ignoring you. It's about holding herself together. She processes pain inwardly. She cries in silence, heals in silence, forgives in silence. You'll think she's fine because she's not saying anything, but inside, she's having 1,000 conversations with herself, trying to understand, to accept, to still choose love even when it hurts. When she loves, her silence becomes her way of communicating everything she can't verbalize. You can feel it in the way she exhales softly after a long pause, the way her eyes look down when she's fighting her emotions, the way she smiles faintly instead of saying what she truly feels. That's her silence talking, whispering everything she's too afraid to speak aloud. Her silence says, "I care," when her pride stops her from showing it. It says, "I'm hurt," when she doesn't want to blame you. It says, "I miss you," when she decides to give you space. Every unspoken word hides behind her quiet gestures, the slow responses, the distant tone, the thoughtful stillness that lingers between you. You'll start to realize that her silence is never empty. It's filled with meaning, with love, with unspoken truth. It's her way of maintaining balance when her emotions feel too heavy. Sometimes she stays quiet because she doesn't want to say something she'll regret. Sometimes she stays silent because she wants you to notice, to sense what's wrong without her having to explain it. It's her heart's way of testing if you can hear her even when she's not speaking. And in that silence, she reveals the most vulnerable part of her love, the part that hopes you'll understand her without needing her to translate the language of her heart. When a woman truly falls in love, her way of caring changes completely. It's no longer something she does consciously. It becomes a natural part of who she is. Her care turns into something pure, instinctive, and unconditional. She starts to worry about you in ways she never even worried about herself. She notices the smallest changes in your tone, your expressions, the energy in your words, the silence in your messages. She picks up on things you don't even realize you're showing. When you're tired, she feels it. When you're hurt, she senses it. And when you're distant, something inside her shifts, as if her entire being reacts to your emotions. Her love transforms into a quiet form of nurturing that doesn't need to be asked for. It simply exists, surrounding you without demanding recognition. She'll start doing little things that seem ordinary ordinary but carry deep meaning. She'll remind you to eat, not because she thinks you're incapable, but because she wants to be sure you're taking care of yourself. She'll send you messages when you're busy, not to get your attention, but to let you know someone is thinking about you. She'll listen to your rants without judgment, offering calm when you're chaotic, and she'll do all of it without ever expecting a thank you. Her care doesn't come from a place of need. It comes from love, from that quiet space in her heart where your well-being has taken root. Even when she's angry, even when she feels ignored, that care doesn't vanish. It stays steady and unconditional, because once her heart attaches itself to you, it no longer knows how to stop giving. Her way of caring also begins to show in her patience. She starts to understand you beyond your words, forgiving you before you even realize you've hurt her. She knows when to give you space and when to stay close. She learns your moods, your silences, your unspoken signals. It's not something she studies. It's something she feels. Her intuition becomes her guide, leading her to respond to your emotions in ways that no one else can. And in that quiet, consistent care, she gives you something rare, a sense of emotional safety. You begin to feel that no matter how messy life gets, she'll still be there, not to fix everything, but to stand by you through it. You'll see her care most clearly when you're at your worst. When you push people away, she'll stay near. When you lose your temper, she'll see through the anger and look for the pain behind it. When you feel lost, she'll try to anchor you even when she's breaking inside. Her love doesn't disappear in hard times. That's when it becomes strongest. Because when a woman truly loves, her care is not based on what she receives in return. It's based on what she feels. She'll still check up on you after arguments, still pray for you when you're apart, still defend you when others don't understand you. Her love teaches her endurance, and her care becomes her quiet way of showing it every single day. Even when she's hurt, her care doesn't fade. It might turn softer, quieter, less visible, but it never truly leaves. She may act distant, but deep down, she's still hoping you're okay. She may not reach out, but she still thinks of you when you're silent for too long. Her heart doesn't know how to stop worrying, because once she's given a part of herself, it stays connected to you no matter what happens. That's what unconditional care looks like. A kind of love that expects nothing, that doesn't keep score, that continues to give even when it's not being noticed. When a woman truly falls in love, there comes a moment when the walls she has built around herself begin to soften. The strength that once protected her starts to bend, not because she becomes weak, but because love makes her brave enough to show her real self. Her vulnerability begins to appear quietly, slowly, like sunlight filtering through the cracks. She doesn't plan it. It just happens. Love has a way of disarming her defenses, of making her feel safe enough to let someone see the parts of her she usually hides from the world. You'll notice it when she starts talking about her fears, her past, the things that shaped her. She begins to open up about the wounds she carries, not seeking pity, but understanding. It's her way of saying, this is who I really am, and trusting that you'll still choose her despite the imperfections. Her vulnerability doesn't show through grand confessions. It lives in the small, delicate moments when her heart forgets to guard itself. You'll see it when she lets her emotions show without overthinking them, when she allows her tears to fall instead of pretending to be fine, when she admits she's scared of losing you. The woman who once seemed composed and independent starts revealing her softer sides, the ones she's always kept hidden. It's not easy for her. Vulnerability is frightening, especially for someone who's been hurt before, but love gives her courage, courage to be seen, to be known, to be fully human in front of you. And that's when she begins to show the rawest parts of her heart. She'll start sharing stories she's never told anyone, letting you into the parts of her life that shaped her pain and her strength. She might tell you about her insecurities, the moments she felt unloved, the things that still haunt her at night. And when she does, she's not looking for solutions. She's looking for safety. She's hoping you'll listen, not judge. She's hoping you'll understand that behind her confidence, there's still a heart that needs reassurance. Her vulnerability is her way of giving you trust, the most fragile and valuable thing she has to offer. And when a woman loves deeply, that trust means everything to her. Her vulnerability also appears in the way she begins to depend on you emotionally. She'll start reaching out when she's hurting, something she never did before. She'll ask for your opinion, seek your comfort, lean on you during her moments of weakness. For someone who has learned to handle life on her own, that is a silent declaration of love. Letting someone in is her biggest risk because she knows love can heal, but it can also break. Yet she still chooses to open her heart, hoping that this time it will be held gently. In her vulnerability, you'll see her truest form, the real, unfiltered version of herself. The woman who once laughed everything off will now let you see her tears. The one who always said, "I'm fine," will finally whisper, "I'm not okay." And when she does that, it's not weakness, it's trust. She's letting you see the parts that the world doesn't get to see. The fear of being left, the need to be understood, the quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, she has finally found someone who won't turn away when she's no longer strong. Her vulnerability is her love in its purest form, love that no longer hides behind pride, love that is honest, trembling, and real. When a woman truly falls in love, her absence speaks louder than any words she could ever say. It's not about leaving intentionally or punishing someone. It's the way her heart communicates the depth of her emotions when she is not physically present. When she withdraws, when she retreats into silence, it is never meaningless. Her absence carries weight, a quiet intensity that leaves an imprint on everything around her. You notice it in the stillness she leaves behind, in the subtle emptiness that lingers in the spaces she once filled effortlessly. The world continues, people continue, but her absence creates a pause that makes her presence felt more vividly than ever before. Her absence becomes a reflection of her love. It is the mirror that shows what she values most without her having to speak it aloud. When she steps back, she's not giving up. She's allowing the silence to speak for her. In those moments, she reveals how much she cares through what she chooses not to do, through the invisible threads of emotion that connect her to you even when she is distant. You'll feel it in the quiet around you, in the missing laughter, the missing warmth, the missing reassurance that you may have taken for granted before. Her absence is a language of longing, patience, and unspoken desire, and only someone who truly pays attention can read it. It is in these moments of distance that you begin to see the seriousness of her love. She doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't plead. Instead, she retreats with quiet dignity, letting her heart speak through the spaces she leaves empty. And in that retreat, there is hope. Hope that you will notice, that you will understand, that you will value what she has quietly given to you all along. Her absence tests the strength of the bond, not as a game, but as a mirror of her trust. She is showing that her presence is not casual, it is precious, and she is allowing it to be felt fully by letting it be missed. When a woman's absence speaks, it also carries vulnerability. She is opening herself to the possibility that distance might not be noticed, that the one she loves might not recognize the weight of what she has withdrawn, yet she takes the risk because her love is sincere. She doesn't need to prove it through words or gestures. She allows the world to feel her absence, to understand the gravity of her emotions through what is no longer there. There is a quiet power in this form of love. It communicates depth, patience, and devotion in a way that constant presence sometimes cannot. Her absence also shows the depth of her attention and care. Even when she is not around, she thinks of you, worries about you, and hopes for your happiness. She may not reach out immediately, but her heart is always present, quietly tethered to yours. And in that way, her absence is a paradox. She is gone, yet she is closer than ever in the impact she leaves behind. Every empty space, every missed message, every quiet moment without her presence is filled with unspoken love, longing, and the undeniable proof of how much she truly values you. The most profound moments of her absence are those when you start to notice her influence in your life, in your routine, in your thoughts. You realize that the spaces she used to fill are irreplaceable, and the silence she leaves behind resonates louder than any conversation could. Her absence teaches patience, appreciation, and introspection, showing that love is not only in presence and words, but in the quiet distance where emotions speak most clearly.